Quite simply put, Mercedes is having a shocker. If the Bahrain GP is anything to go by, the Silver Arrows and their fans are in for a long season and could even lose the lucrative top 3 spot in the Constructors' Championship. Matters look to be getting worse for the Silver Arrows, as their 2 drivers are not exactly in agreement, and further misery could be heaped on Mercedes after the FIA's new rule change. In recent history, Mercedes have been the dominant force of F1, winning both the Constructors' and Drivers' Championship with ease in some seasons. The current spell we see from Mercedes is very unusual from the Silver Arrows, and rightly so is causing much concern in the team paddock. The Bahrain GP, by Mercedes standards, was terrible, with the team finishing 5th and 7th on the grid. And it could have been worse if Charles had not retired, and who knows, if Stroll was fully fit, they could have been behind both Aston Martins. However, we got a great battle between Alonso and Hamilton that pleased most F1 fans and may have satisfied some fans more than others after Alonso got the better of his former teammate. The mood in the Mercedes camp is not good, with Hamilton trying to cheer his team up with a motivational message to his engineers and crew. "Great work, I know we're not where we want to be, but let's keep pushing," Hamilton said. "Serious work to do to close the gap, but I believe in you all." Russell was not precisely upbeat after the race. The Brit had a pretty decent 2022 campaign. Still, it was bitterly disappointing in Bahrain after his 7th-placed finish. The young Brit had some further damning words for the F1 grid. "Red Bull have got their championship sewn up, and I don't think anybody will be fighting with them this year," Russell said. "They should win every single race this season. With the performance they have got, I don't see anyone challenging them," said Russell. Uncharted territory for the Silver Arrows, but as they say, desperation is the raw material of drastic change. It looks like there will be drastic changes to the car, but I think this has left many fans scratching their heads as to what direction the team will go, as they have been pretty adamant that they will not be copying any other team's design, as they feel this is going backwards. This does not leave them with many directions, as the zero-pod design is clearly not working. Red Bull has jokingly spoken of how they had 3 cars on the podium, as the Aston Martin is very similar to the Red Bull, with the influence noticeable. Toto disagrees, however, as he thinks the Aston Martin team is half of Mercedes. They gained 2 seconds in half a year, and their car is half ours, from the engine, gearbox and rear suspension, and using the same wind tunnel. There are a lot of parallels, and we need to acknowledge that they have done an outstanding job, said a pained Wolff. Whether that is the case or not, Mercedes are going to need radical changes to the current concept, as they are just not at the races, and with the budget cap further hampering development, this could further hinder their progress. One further issue is that Mercedes is just not the powerhouse they once were. They have lost James Allison, technical director. Andy Cowell is gone as the engine guru. Eddie Bladden has departed as chief aerodynamicist. It may also be crucial that the decisive no-nonsense Niki Lauda died in 2019. His directness was essential in counteracting Wolff's more methodical and cautious approach. Talking to Sky Sports, Toto had this to say: "One of the worst days racing," he told Sky Sports. "Really not good at all. We're just lacking pace, and that's a reflection of the test. The Aston Martin is very fast, they deserve that, and Red Bull is just on a different planet." When pressed on the matter, he did say radical changes were needed to the car, and that at least they could use the Aston Martin as to where the problems are. A further issue for Mercedes will be team dynamics, with Hamilton's pedigree speaking for itself, and Russell seen as one of the most talented young drivers on the grid. And after out-qualifying Hamilton for the Bahrain Grand Prix, the Brit will be determined to make sure he has equal opportunity and does not become the next Bottas. And it does appear that there are some cracks beginning to appear in the relationship, with Russell saying this on team radio: "Is Lewis managing, or is he slow? Because I feel like I have a bit more pace," he asked. To highlight the cracks further is the team are not exactly on the same wavelength about the development of the car. Hamilton has shown his spiky side in the past with previous teammates, namely Fernando Alonso and Nico Rosberg. However, Hamilton was rather upbeat with the situation in Bahrain. "Yeah, definitely, I gave it absolutely everything. I'm definitely happy with the race. It was much better than qualifying. I'm generally happy in terms of my performance. The team did amazing on the pit stops. Just unfortunately, the car is not there at the moment. We're just lacking downforce, so we've got to really work hard to try and add that ASAP. Anything that can improve on, we've got to use it tomorrow. We've really got to push massively to try and close that gap. The Red Bull pace today was absolutely huge." The team will need to make sure they show a united front, with many perceiving the Mercedes team as a strong unit in particular as they struggle through these issues. However, it does look like Russell and Hamilton are not on the same page, with Russell having a stark contrast to what his teammate has to say, and particularly after his brief frustration at being behind Hamilton. It depends. In the mix for what, really? Russell said to Sky Sports F1 when asked if Mercedes were in the mix for points. "We had a good battle at points, but both of us were on the back foot and a bit helpless when you're lacking a couple of tenths compared to the cars around you. You try your best to battle with them, but you can't hold them up," said Russell. Toto did say that Hamilton is singing from the same hymn sheet as the rest of the crew, but at the moment, Wolff will have to work out a way to keep the two Brits working harmoniously to avoid a repeat of the feisty Hamilton and Rosberg team dynamics. Now, if you are Hamilton, you are looking over your shoulder at Fernando Alonso and thinking, how is he doing it? He has the same power unit as me. The rivalry between Hamilton and Alonso runs deep, and the Brit has had more success than Alonso, but this one may hurt the most as he looks to win his record-breaking world title. However, Horner, rightly so, didn't write off Mercedes just yet, with the Red Bull team principal having this to say about the championship battle. Horner said, "Look, it can change very quickly. Look at last year, how things turned around. Mercedes came from a long way back, and they had a winning car at the end of the year with that concept. Indeed, Mercedes can turn it around, but whether it's in this season remains to be seen. This new era of the cost cap means teams have to be very careful of where they spend the money, with many in the paddock thinking Mercedes missed a trick with their power unit to compete with the other teams. And it does look like it may get worse for Hamilton, as the FIA has banned political, religious and personal gestures ahead of the 2023 season, with such gestures being punishable in many ways unless F1's governing body has approved them. Now, this was relaxed to allow F1 stars to be free to make comments in interviews and at press conferences if they're asked a direct question. But this doesn't mean that these can't be punished, with a range of penalties being possible, including simple reprimands and fines, through to grid drops, time penalties, and even suspension from events. When asked if Hamilton would carry a statement at Bahrain, Hamilton simply said, "You'll see, you know me." Lewis Hamilton couldn't help himself because during FP1 of the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton's helmet featured a rainbow going down to the center of the design, similar to the designs he wore in the past, but with a yellow background rather than black. And to add further fuel to the fire, Hamilton has been urged by the Lib Dem party in the UK to boycott races in the Middle East unless F1 receives assurances about the human rights records of some of their host countries. According to reports, Hamilton will not be penalized by the FIA. The Mercedes driver did not have to request permission from the FIA to wear his helmet, as the FIA has its own diversity program which supports the rainbow logo. It would only take a closer look at such a matter if another stakeholder, such as a race promoter, raised it. Stefano Domenicali even said he liked Lewis's helmet, and Lewis believed that Stefano was a true leader. Stefano is, I think, a really great leader and very family-orientated and very much understanding, said the 7-time world champion. He's already come out and kind of gone against what has been said, so we'll continue to work together in the right direction, said the 7-time world champion.